Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by
The Org Boss. The Org Boss is a residential and commercial organizing company that specializes in decluttering, interior design, inventory staging, business processing documentation, and more. Reach The Org Boss today at 832-617-0624 or send an email to info@theorgboss.com.
Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789.
What's up, my peeps? Welcome to Startup Masters, the show where you are gonna get the dopest content, the gems from everywhere, because we don't want you to skin up your knee to the white meat like we did when we started up our companies. I'm your host, Kalia Guillory, also known as KG. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook at KOG Speaks. And boy, I'm happy you came through today. We've got a lot going on, especially if you live in the southern part of the country. But it's good that you came back because it's time for us to reset. It's time for us to get back on our business. You heard? But what's good with you, G?
Nothing much, just another day in the neighborhood.
Come on.
Won't you be mine?
Come on,
Welcome
Mr.
back to
Roger.
Startup Masters. I hit him with that. You feel that? What's up, good people? Welcome back. My name is Gary Lee. I'm one of your co-hosts here for Startup Masters. And of course, as KG mentioned, we're trying to keep all the entrepreneurs from skinning up the white meat. So we're going through the trials and tribulations, the gems, the blessings, the heartaches, the despair, the pain, things that occur in your entrepreneurial journey that we want to make sure you can deviate away from. We want to make sure that you can have a clear line to success. But trust, there's a journey in that mission. There always is. And we always try to bring you the best guests so that we can continue to drop these gems for you to pick up. And we've got a doozy in the house today. And the reason why I say that is because if you're a fan of the network, then you've got to be a fan of our show called Docs. And one of those young ladies is with us here today. And we're going to dive right in.
Yeah, we are.
Without further ado, the Smile Design Studios founder and owner herself, Dr. Simone Ellis.
Hey
Simone,
guys.
what's up?
Oh my God. Let me tell you, I had to go back and redo my intros for every show for Docs because that was so much energy and I absolutely loved it. So hi everybody, I am Simone Ellis, Dr. Simone Ellis, and you can find me at Smile Design Studios. My website is at the bottom, www.sdshouston.com, and I'm excited to be a part of a different
We're excited
show.
to have you.
You are here.
Yeah.
I told Gary I
Yeah.
wanted to do like a mashup where like we do different shows and
Yeah.
stuff. So I think
I
this
actually
would be-
really like that
That's a
idea.
really fun
So we're
idea.
talking about like taking the host from Docs, letting them
Yeah.
do boom bap.
And I go and do
You go and do Docs. Yeah.
that smile
Yeah,
I want
crazy
to do G's.
stuff.
I want to do G's for gentlemen. Like I want
Like-
to get the outfits together. Like I'm excited.
Like totally off the wall, and we can make that happen, right? Because
Yeah, I
that's
think it's cool.
why not? Why not? We'll do that. Why not? Christmas is around the corner, so make sure y'all stay tuned. Facebook Live, we want to say what's up to y'all. We normally only give you roughly about 15 minutes or so make sure that you jot these gems down. If you've got any questions outside of that, we want to make sure you subscribe over at the Sphere TV, sphere.tv, as well as hit us up via email. Shoot us an email over to startupmasters@thesphere.tv or across social media at the Sphere TV, #startupmasters, and we can definitely get with you. So without further ado, we're going to dive into this journey for Smile Design Studios.
Okay.
And the way we like to do that is we like to start from the past, talk about the present, and then, of course, talk about the future. You ready to go on this journey?
Let's go.
All
I
right.
mean, I feel like I'm still on a journey. So let's
Hey,
continue to go.
That's even better.
That's the
Let's
best
go.
part. So let's rewind the tape right now. Let's take it back in time. DeLorean. 88 miles an hour. We're going to go
He knows
back
I
in
don't know
time.
what that is.
Yeah. That's where we at.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. That's all right. We'll school you. We'll put you on intermission. We'll school it.
I'll drop you
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that.
We'll
Send
get
it
some
to you.
gems
Tell me
after
about
the
it.
show. So take us back to that time when you first said, you know what? I want to open up a dental practice. What was going on in your life when you wanted to make that journey?
So when I first got out of dental school, or even before I even went to dental school in high school, I was like, okay, dental school is 4 years, college is 4 years, and then I'm going to open my practice 1 year out of school.
Nice.
And so I just kind of set off with that ambitious goal to do that. There was no plan of action. I had never been around anyone else other than my father, who was an entrepreneur. When I was a kid. So I hadn't been around business owners. So really it was just kind of like, I'm going to do this. Let me just get out and start. So when you say what was going through my mind, I think just being rigid on time frames was really what it was. Like, okay, 4 years out of undergrad, 4 years in dental school, then you open your own practice. That was it. So nothing else, no preparation. Dental school doesn't offer you any entrepreneurial classes.
Wow.
So you're really just kind of going out there and doing it. And I was kind of a maverick at my time because none of my friends had opened, right? So I'm just really kind of going to practices and just looking at the aesthetics, not really understanding the business aspect and saying, yeah, I can do that.
Right.
Oh, it looks cute, so I can do that. And
Right.
then there came the practice and the business part of it. So when you say what was going through my mind, probably a lot of, what did you say, skinning the flesh?
Yeah.
Was it the
that
white
was
meat?
like-
To the white
I was
meat.
like
That white
bone.
meat.
Like I was exposed, like completely, like just no cartilage, like just straight to the bone, and just making a lot of poor mistakes. So I'm glad that you guys are doing this because it could save a lot of people a lot of headache.
Trailblazer
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
studio,
Yeah.
holding up that torch.
That's what she
so
did.
That's kind of
That's what it is.
And you're talking about you made mistakes. Let's talk a little bit about that because
Yeah.
we believe here that it's not necessarily a mistake, that we call them learning opportunities.
Okay.
So talk to us and our viewers who might be listening. So if you're thinking about opening up your own practice, vet, doctor, whatever, this might also apply to you.
Might
as
be
well.
Absolutely,
applicable.
because all businesses run the same, and
Talk
I
about
think
it.
that that's really important for people to understand.
That's
that
a gem right there.
Yeah,
That's a gem right
entrepreneurship
there.
is the same. So whether you're opening a beauty shop, whether you're opening a series of podcasts to come through, I mean, it's all the same. And so, what are some of the things that I learned? Well, one, understanding basically money. Okay, so let's talk about that because for any type of business, you need to have enough capital to do marketing. And so I spent a lot of money on the front end doing equipment, decor, but my marketing expenses were very, very, the money was in there a lot. So for a dental practice, for instance, you need about $30,000 to $50,000 that you want to market for the first year. I think I had 20. And so that, of course, if people know you're a great office, but no one knows that you exist, that's a really, really big loss. So that was a big mistake, is that I didn't allocate my finances properly. The second thing is that I didn't network enough. I didn't get with other business owners to see what kind of pitfalls they had. So unfortunately, I was discovering these things and falling on my own, where I could have probably asked someone else, hey, what's going on?
Could have avoided it.
I mean,
perhaps.
absolutely. Then also understanding profit and loss, not only from the money standpoint, but actually understanding my financials. I don't think I started understanding my financials as a business owner till year 4.
Wow.
And so you're just operating, and in dentistry, the expenses are extremely high. So the cost of overhead is higher than maybe a startup where you're basically in your house and you're doing things on your own.
Sure.
So I didn't understand that and didn't know what questions to ask. And then when I was making money, I robbed my practice of the money. So I was just like, hey, I deserve this. I need this. So I would take all of the money back out, the profit out of my practice, and spend it frivolously because I thought that I had a profit, when not understanding that I really didn't have a profit.
Right.
I really should have been investing that back
Reinvesting.
into my practice. So you're now, what is it, almost 8? I'm back
Come on,
rolling.
you're 8?
And then come on, Harvey. Like, come on, Harvey. Like,
It's
it
crazy.
Just, but
It's crazy.
You definitely have the highs and lows.
You do. And speaking of Harvey, we're going to do something special for our shows all week long. We want to actually bring forth relief efforts, things that are happening in the community for those that have been affected and impacted by Hurricane Harvey. First up to bat, we want to talk about what's going on over at Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. Now, Wheeler has served over 1,300 families so far, and they are still in need of donations. What they're looking for right now is, most importantly, cleaning supplies. They're talking gloves, bleach, Clorox wipes, masks, paper towels, brooms, mops, etc., linens and towels, school supplies because the kids are going back to school in HISD for September 11th, and toiletries, of course, for men and women, and that's going to include deodorants, lotions, shampoos, soaps, etc. Now, they're going to be accepting these donations from 1 to 7 all the way through Saturday. So if you can, please stop by and donate your time, those items. Now, they are currently not accepting clothing, but we do want to make sure that we do get donations out to this church. Their address is 3826 Wheeler Avenue. That's Houston, Texas, 77004. And this is, of course, for those that are out of state. If you're listening to this podcast anywhere in the world, feel free to mail those items in. If you need to make a phone call over to them, you can reach them at 713-748-5240. And once again, that is at Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church.
One time for the home church.
Yeah,
That's my church.
There it is. How
I
about
was there
that?
on Saturday.
Come on.
We don't need no
about
more
that?
clothes. That's for real.
Exactly.
'Cause
Like,
we
I think
did.
a lot of people don't need a lot of
Yeah,
clothes.
it was a lot of clothes.
We've been dumping
so,
clothes.
Yeah.
Dumping clothes. So let me ask you this question, right? During that process, during that time, you weren't familiar with the finances going into the third, fourth year, and it was literally trial by fire for you. You
Right.
talked about really being exposed and in thinking aesthetics and business, but not really getting a P&L and all those things. You were making these moves, but what was the inspiration behind these moves being made? What inspired you to keep going through these trenches, keep pushing forward year after year as you're literally learning on the job as far as how to operate a business?
So I decided to sell my practice. Year 3, I was like, F this. I'm over this. Like, I can't do this. I don't understand what's going on. And I was so stressed out. I was emotionally drained. I gave up. I was like, I'm over this. So I actually go to sell my practice and through a broker. And I meet this father and son duo, which I think from a cultural standpoint also, too, we've got to do better as the people of making sure we bring the other person along, because I saw firsthand another culture where they were basically the dad was walking him through the entire process.
Because
And
he was
I'm
going
like,
to turn the keys over to him.
absolutely.
Yep.
And I'm just like, wow, if I would have had that would have been great. So get ready to sell my practice. And my broker says, Simone, if you do this is the person that he's going to make money off of selling my practice. This will be the biggest mistake that you ever did in your life. He said, your practice is extremely, extremely profitable. You just need to learn how to run a business. So he basically was like, get some balls, take some classes, and man up. And that conversation is what turned my perception or perspective about owning a business over. So I stopped crying and being a baby about it. And I call it like being an ostrich, putting your head in the sand. And I just stood up and was like, okay, let me start learning how to run a business. And ever since that point, it's been a completely different journey for me. So
How inspiring.
yeah, so it
that's
was,
dope.
and it was actually, I think that was God, because that man was going to make a lot of money off of my practice, and it was really just like, suck it up, man up. And I just remember that moment being like, either I can learn how to do this, or I can go back and work for someone else. And I hated working for someone else in the first place. Like, that wasn't why I wanted to open my practice anyways. I went from a clinic of seeing 40 people a day, not remembering their names, to owning my own practice, where now I just saw one of my kids who's going to college, and I remember seeing them in
Wow.
middle school. So it's just, that was kind of the life that I wanted to have, and I was about to give it away. So entrepreneurship, I feel like for a lot of people, we get to that point where it's just like, am I really doing all I can, and what's the purpose, what's the why? And I still go through those moments, but I continue to surround myself with people who tell you to man up and get it together and go and read and learn what you don't know.
Hey.
Yeah.
We
Hey.
call it relationship currency.
There it
on the
is.
show.
Okay, y'all
There
have so
it
many
is.
tips. Oh, let me
The
write all this
hashtag.
down. Hashtag.
So when we
what?
do this, we
Yeah,
already
yeah.
know what this means. That's me. We
coming.
about to hashtag this thing.
Exactly,
folks.
Relationship
Exactly.
currency, because it really started with that gentleman, and you were open to listen to his
Yeah.
feedback. But then you have the tribe that surrounds you to continue that type of feedback to keep
Absolutely.
it going.
Yep.
So what I just want to unpack it, if we will, just a little bit, peel the onion a little bit more when you
Okay.
talk about learning. What type of things were you were you doing? Were you going to classes? What type of specifics did you do to teach yourself?
I started looking at like business entrepreneurial classes and what could I afford, because then of course, like as an entrepreneur, I was like, I don't have the money that I needed to go and get an MBA again, or was that even necessary for me to do at that point? So Goldman Sachs at that time had kind of had like a really bad rap of doing business poorly. I think that was around the 2008 year or 2009. So what they did was they started implementing a 10,000 small business program, and you could apply for that at the Houston Community College, and they only accepted, I think, like 40 applicants out of like thousands of people. So it was a really great opportunity. I applied and I got in. So it was like a mini MBA class. So I took that. I actually reached out to the Breakfast Club, the wife of the owner. I can't remember Marcus's wife's name at this time, but I called her and I said, hey, how was this program for you? Because she's featured in a lot of their promotional items. And she was like, it was great. And that's how they actually started their, they do the seasonings and the stuff that they have as far as like outside of the practice. I mean, outside of their
another source,
right? So she's like, this is how we created it. So I went and did that, and that was awesome. That's where I really learned how businesses really did run the same. And so we would have to do a lot of presentations and learn how to read our P&Ls, learn how to ask people for capital, elevator pitches, all kinds of things that I thought I should have known really on the front end. Then I started getting myself an automobile MBA. That's where Zig Ziglar, I don't know if you guys are into podcasts, but anyways, I do listen to podcasts, and Zig Ziglar has a really awesome one.
Time for Zig.
Yeah. And so I called the
best salesman in the world.
Great. But he talks about having an automobile academy. So instead of listening to music in the car, you're listening to something that will, build your life. So I became an avid listener to podcasts throughout the car. So How I Built This on NPR, or Money Makeovers by Dave Ramsey, just understanding business a little bit more. That's really what I started doing. And then I created the Houston Minority Dental Society, which was a group of doctors, Black doctors, who were trying to open their practices or just learn more about different avenues in business, and to keep us keep us networking with each other, so that I can now reach out and say, hey, do you understand this? And it kind of kept building from there. So I just never stopped learning. And then I also have that spirit of learning, because you said something earlier that sometimes we're not able to receive that advice. And for me,
because if you weren't in the right space, you would have been like, whatever, dude.
And I really wasn't. Actually, I wasn't. If you would have hit me with that the first year or second year I opened, I may have really went ahead and went through with it. But now, I'm in a different space where I can receive a lot of that information, and that's something that I think takes time as well.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
It's just iron sharpens iron.
It
We
does.
tell people, for those that are watching us right now, for those that are listening, you're sitting in your car, and you're a Zig Ziglar fan, and of course you're a Startup Masters fan, or you sit on your couch and you're watching this via Apple TV. We want to make sure that you are picking up these nuggets that Dr. Simone Ellis is dropping today in regards to understanding your finances. And when you need something, go out and get it. Go out and get that knowledge. Go out and sit in those classes, because it's important. And what also is important is Facebook. We love you. We adore you. We know some of you all tune in live. Some of you all watch it a little bit later, but we only give you a small smidget. So you've got to do a few things. First and foremost, go over to the website, thesphere.tv/Startup Masters. Make sure you subscribe to iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course, Stitcher for our techie folks. Now, while you're there, make sure you give us some reviews. Let us know how we're doing. Give us that constructive criticism, because we want to continue to build better shows for you. Now, at the same time, make sure you share this out. Share it with your family, your friends, your colleagues, your loved ones. Share it with your haters. If you got side pieces, share it with your side. It doesn't matter what you got. They need love too. Share it with anybody. For those at Red Lobster, share it with the Red Lobster folks. Whatever you got going on. I'm just saying. And last but not least, if you love us, you love what we're building here, make sure you donate. Go to sphere.tv/donate. We've got two options for you. We've got a single donation as well as a Patreon-based donation, so you can sow back into us as we continue to build great shows and bring you inspiring content. Facebook Livers, we will check you all later right here at the Sphere.
Peace.
So let's talk about today. Today, where you're at right now, Simone, where you're at in business. Let's talk a little bit about the practice as a whole, what you all offer, and what that looks like as far as you standing out amongst your peers.
Is this pre-Harvey or post? I'm just joking.
I mean,
Let me
we
get
can
my
a little
spirit
bit of both.
together,
Let's talk about it.
Because Harvey just destroyed my life.
I
But
mean,
anyways,
minor
well,
setback for a
minor
major
set-
comeback.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I received that.
Yeah.
I received that.
We call them. You got to have a big breakdown to have a big breakthrough.
There it is.
You know what? I just feel like you guys should come on. our
Welcome
show,
to
'cause I
Startup
feel like
Masters.
I want to have all these
This is what we do.
catchy
This
is how we
sayings.
roll.
I'm
This is how we
like,
roll.
That's how we roll.
Chandra, are you watching this? Like,
This is
gotta
it.
keep going, game. No, so where are we now? So, one of the cool things that I did also do was I invested back into my team. Okay, so I believe that people a lot of times they need to really put that training back into the team that they have employed. And a lot of times, especially with dentists, we kind of are like, well, I don't want to invest in my teammates because of the fact that if they decide to leave, then it's been a waste of money, right? And so I don't really believe in that, or I don't subscribe to that concept, just because I believe whatever I'm investing back into my team will bless their life.
Yep.
But it also bless mine. And so whether they're there with me or not, I mean, if I've trained you how to become a better individual, you'll be a better mother, you'll be a better wife, like you'll just be a better person. And that serves the world much bigger than just my office. So that's kind of the concept now. As far as what we do is we have an outside company that'll come in and basically help to give us quarterly trainings. We have clarity retreats with our team where we kind of set the goal for the beginning of the year, and then we check back every month to make sure we're on target for our goal.
I love that.
I have created business owners within my business, so everybody is responsible for a statistic in our practice, whether it's how much your hygiene numbers are and what you need to be doing to produce.
Come on, metrics.
Yeah, right.
You track
Important.
it to grow.
We track the metrics. We have new patient goals. We do a lot of cool things as far as what sets us apart differently from other offices, where we do competitions for our team to get more new patients. But if you're a patient that's referring somebody to us, you get to be a part of these competitions as well. So we just gave out a grill today, a large, big grill. And next month we're giving away $1,000, which kind of actually ties into this hurricane relief effort. We had already had that on the books, but if you refer a patient, you entered in to win a chance for $1,000. So that helps to build our new patient numbers up. But if we reach that number, my girls get something as a prize as well. So like somebody won a spa last month, they'll get a gift card to Eddie V's or Steak 48, some of the major steakhouses. So we consistently try to make our office as patient-centric as possible, but we also try to make sure that the team is incentivized, which is important, right?
Absolutely.
As far as growth opportunities, you just said that major setbacks for big come ups, and unfortunately, like where we're at now, we're kind of in what we call survival mode. We were in extreme growth mode, but now we're just trying to make sure, hey, we can keep the doors open, because unfortunately, as you know, Harvey has come, and it as 93% of my patient base was impacted by the evacuations. So what do? We change our mode of thought, but I also look at it as an opportunity, because there are offices, unfortunately, that did get flooded out that people need to be seen.
Yeah.
And so how do I rebrand myself or remarket or re-strategize the office so that we're able to help people, but yet and still we're able to continue to have some form of growth? One of the cool things that we had already planned on doing was a free day of dentistry. So I believe that when I can do more, when I'm blessing people, I will get blessed back. So we had already planned to do that. It just happened to tie right now into Harvey. Another thing that we also like to do is I have a 3-year commitment to the community of $175,000 worth of free dentistry. So this year we're doing away $25,000. Next year we'll do $50,000, and the following year we'll do $100,000.
Nice.
As far as goals for myself, I want to own, I've talked to Gary about this before, but a piece of my own land to build my practice on, because I like to have a training facility where people can train on how to become better assistants, how to be better, like my team to get better training, and people can bring and rent that space to have training meetings for their teams. So just a lot of different things. But like you said, it came down to really understanding numbers and actually setting a clear-cut vision and goal so that the team could follow it. I didn't know how important that was until
That's massive.
Yeah, like probably about 3 years ago, where I'm like, oh, they don't understand where I see the practice going. So if they don't understand it, how could they work towards it?
Right,
gotta
the
have a
vision, make
vision.
it plain.
Right. So the vision, now everybody understands that. They know what my commitment is. They know what my mission statement is. And even with our restructuring of Harvey, they also know what the vision is. They also know what my plan is. Hey guys, listen, like, it's not about anything other than maintaining everybody's job. So if I'm committed to doing this, I need you guys to be committed to working the goal. And that's been great. Weekly meetings are super important. So I have morning huddles every single day because
Love a huddle.
a huddle is so important. And
it kicks
again,
off your day.
it kicks off the
Get your
day.
energy up.
Absolutely. And it sets the tone for what we're trying to accomplish. And we call it that low hanging fruit, right? So making it where people can achieve it, that goal, really small stuff. But people, it's like weight loss. You know, you don't look at the huge goal that you need to hit. You just kind of each week or each day, I lost a pound.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do as a team. So we do that. And then I have weekly calibration meetings with my providers in the office where we set basically what we call parameters of service. If this, then that. So I didn't realize that sometimes people, if I think that cleaning looks like this and you think a cleaning looks like this, our vision is different. So now we set it where everybody has the exact same, what we call standard of care
Look at
in
you.
the office. So
That smells like you're building a
It's
franchise.
not.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
that's what I
like,
hear.
everything is in place.
That's what I hear.
Let me
I
tell you
smell
what I
franchise.
heard.
Yeah.
That
Go
was
ahead.
Like, I'm over here like, oh my God, she's got this thing. You got the playbook down pat.
That's how it's
it took
supposed
a lot
to
of
be.
skin to, what is it? White meat.
Skin
White
into the
meat.
white meat.
But sometimes that's what's necessary, right?
It is.
Is your people are your competitive advantage.
Yes, absolutely.
They really are, and I hear that. I hear that coming from you.
Absolutely. And I think that if more people ran their businesses like that, they would be more successful.
Oh, listen.
All over the world.
There would be no such a thing as retention or attrition. No
Right.
such a thing,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
Yes.
I agree.
Yes,
and then
indeed.
the second piece that I thought that was very, I hope you guys caught this as well, as you said, we already had the $1,000 on the books.
Yeah.
Which means that you already planned for that.
Yes.
It was already a part of your budget. So it's not like it was like, oh, here comes Hurricane Harvey. Let me go into this, my petty cash and
Right.
get it out. You have already planned for that.
Right. At the beginning of the year, I have a year meeting where I set my budget for a percentage of what we produce or what I plan to produce for the year. And I put that into marketing. And then from there, I actually come up with games or competitions or categories for the entire year that allocate through my budget. So the $1,000 was already there. So yeah, thank you for
Dope
that.
allocation.
Dope.
Trying.
Dope.
on,
She's
come on,
unleashing her
dopeness.
financial dopeness over
Come
here.
on.
That's what she's doing. Speaking of which, and as I mentioned to you all that are watching this right now, for those that are listening right now, we also want to include different Hurricane Harvey relief efforts that are happening right here in the city. And we have a particular donation available, or a place where you can donate, from one of our good friends on Facebook, Miss A. Collins. She has already lifted, as of Monday, she had already created a donation platform and raised over $3,100, which she spent about $2,200 of that, leaving a little under $900 to spend that particular day. She's making note of any and all spending that is happening, and she wants people to know that she is documenting these things down, and they're continuing to raise money. I believe they have a goal set to raise $5,000 to assist people for Harvey. So she wants you all to know that you can donate via PayPal over at paypal.me/ASCollins or at joshua.a.lawrence@gmail.com. You can donate via Venmo at ASCollins, and that's COLLINS. You can donate via the Square Cash app, $Collins Houston. You can donate to her directly via Facebook as well. And of course, for those that use the Zelle app, you can donate to Joshua, and that's joshua.lawrence@gmail.com. Once again, this is a great opportunity for those that want to donate and see dollars land directly in the community and have accountability, because that's what it's all about. Now, obviously, you've told us how you started this and the vision, the pullback that set up for the major breakthrough, right? You told us where you're at today and the things that you're doing. But let's talk about the future.
The future.
Let's talk about your 5, 10, 20-year plan. Where do you see Smile Design Studios in the year 2030? What's going on?
Wow, 2030. Well, I'll be 25.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds all right. No, definitely. Again, one of my big things was learning about financial freedom with owning a practice, and I realized I was paying a lot of money in rent, and it was not. I just couldn't believe, like, in 10 years time, I think I would have spent over $770,000 in just rent and tenant improvements where I could not get that money back. So, the first thing is really having my own space, being able to service more than just Missouri City, but probably being one of the premier dentists in Houston, Texas, and not just minority, because a lot of times I think we hang up on that, but I just want to be one of the premier doctors in the Houston, Texas area. I love to have associates, but I also like to publicly speak. So that's been a very big passion of mine. Something what you guys are doing is talking to people about how not to make these poor mistakes, right? Yeah. And so dental school, there's a huge gap between once you graduate dental school to opening a practice. And so one of my big passions is getting an opportunity to speak at conferences about what to do and what not to do. Another thing for my office is I wanted to be extremely self-sufficient where I'm seeing patients maybe like once or twice a day. But another big dream of mine is, unfortunately, dentistry is still very much so white, Caucasian, male dominated. And so it's part of my own passion to try to make sure that we as minorities get a seat at the table. And so I want to go back to the schools and actually be a part of recruitment to try to get more minorities into the schools, kind of breaking down those barriers so that we can even get accepted into the schools. So I don't know if that answers your question pertaining to just my practice. My practice is just a part of
there it is.
Of the vision.
It's just a part of it.
Yeah, but I mean, ideally I would love to see it be $3, $4, or $5 million practice with definitely a lot of other doctors that are there working it, but me getting the opportunity from my practice to generate money where I don't have to physically be there, because unfortunately now I'm my rate limiting factor, right? So I always say that you can only add so much baking soda to that vinegar before it starts to fizzle out. Well, I'm only one person, so I can only do so much. So really, I've been really been trying to get another doctor in there to really train them on how to run the business so that I can see more people and it doesn't physically have to be me. Yeah. So those are kind of my dreams.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's sound. It's sound. Two, it's doable. You talked about low-hanging fruit early on, but you're talking about things that you have already shown that you have the fortitude to achieve and aspire.
Come on, fortitude.
You better speak. I mean, I'm just.
That was a shout out. What's up, Soror?
Oh my God.
Is that where you at?
I thought we were such good friends. And then we decided, like,
what happened?
I support your run today, right?
I thought so. I did like a little alley-oop. I was like, this must be my Soror right here. I guess not. I love you too. You ain't wearing green today, I guess.
I'm not today.
It's cool. It's all you know what? It's too funny.
Yes.
But coming back. So let me ask you this. You've got a ton of stuff like rattling around your brain. I can tell. Like you probably wake up in the middle of the night and like write out like little notes.
So I have like a little notebook
on your nightstand.
Bed.
Yeah. I peep it because I'm just the same way.
Try my life. Yes.
But with that being said, what are you doing for self-care? Meaning, how do you keep that juju flowing? How do you protect that creative space so you can be sharp, so you can be on point for your team huddles first thing in the morning?
Oh, well, that is a work in progress. I just think I was talking to him about that the other day. But, so one time someone told me that the devil will meet you as soon as you wake up, right? And so when they said that, I was like, wow, because when you wake up, sometimes you can really start off and have a lot of thoughts going, but they can be a lot of negative thoughts. So you're going to even think I'm crazier, but I have a pair of headphones by my bed and I immediately put them on like as soon as I wake up. So whether it's a podcast or music or something to just basically start my day off with a jolt of energy. I'm doing better about getting up to go work out in the morning because that's been like kind of my issue. Like I like sleep, but I balance my life through travel, and that's a really big thing to keep me somewhat balanced. I try to get away as much as I can. So the balancing act is still something that's a work in progress. And I think that for all entrepreneurs, it's definitely a tug of war there. I would encourage people though, however, to try to figure out how to stay balanced before they become an entrepreneur because then they have something to reference it back to, as opposed to when you jump into it, it's very easy to get really just focused on doing business. So when I first opened, I was at my office 6 a.m. till 12 o'clock at night. And it was crazy. And Chick-fil-A was my best friend because it was right there. So I'd go eat Chick-fil-A for breakfast. I'd go eat it at lunch. I wouldn't take lunch breaks. And so then I realized the work was still going to be there. Like it never goes away,
it's always
right?
gonna be
It's
there.
always there. And so just had to kind of get some form of balance there. So it's still a work in progress, to be honest with you, KG. And I'm definitely a work in progress. We're trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, I think all of us are.
Yeah, I was gonna say something. We all are.
Yeah,
We always,
I
sewing
wish
back
that I
in
could
the
have
self.
dropped some diamonds there, but it's
No.
just the reality.
The
that
common
it's there.
denominator is that exactly what everybody that sits there says.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure it out. But travel
Yeah.
always comes
Yeah,
up.
it does.
Travel is
You
such
gotta
a
get
great,
away.
You do, and like they make fun of me because I'm never really in town for the shows, but like I try to do my best. That on Thursday I'm like, y'all know if
Thursday,
y'all watch
you out.
docs, I'm like in the bathroom, like, hey, so this is what we're learning about. But I mean, I will literally pick up on a Thursday and I will finish my last patient and be running through the airport. It had gotten so bad, no lie, that me and the people in what is it called?
TSA.
We were friends. Like they'd be like, hey doc, I'm like, what's up? Y'all know I gotta get through here. And they literally would let me cut lines. Like I'm not even joking. Like Southwest and me are just like BFFs. So that's my balance, I guess.
Hey, as long as you're sewing back in the self, that's at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's what's important, because you can't give people your all if you're not at your all.
That's absolutely
know,
right. And
it's-
celebrating wins, though, too. I think that
Yeah,
we've
you-
got to do better
Big
about
ones,
that.
small ones, don't matter what size.
Yes.
A win is a win. in
A
my
win
book.
is a win.
Mm-hmm.
And so even me being open today and on Labor Day and seeing patients, I was like, yes, Lord, like, thank you. So you got to celebrate the
You
wins.
gotta celebrate them.
Yeah.
Speaking of other wins we have going on, as G mentioned, we are all about the Hurricane Harvey relief. So we have another cool ad that we want to share with you for donation collection sites. So we have several people around town that definitely want to be a change agent for our community. We have, they're asking for new undergarments. I want to emphasize new, new undergarments, socks,
Yes.
baby formula food, baby wipes, diapers, senior bladder pads, sanitary napkins, toiletry and hygiene items, as well as some much needed cleaning supplies. I think everyone in the city needs some cleaning supplies. And absolutely, please, guys, no clothing items. You can make your drop at Fox Hollow, E.T.'s Classic Barbershop, The Sharper Edge, Enemy Studios, BeFit Foods, Hair Time Beauty Lounge, and the Smudge with All Real Radio. So if you're looking at the screen now, you can see where those places are. Definitely circle back and check the podcast so you can see the actual addresses of all those locations. But again, Fox Hollow, E.T.'s Classic Barbershop, The Sharper Edge, Enemy Studios, BeFit Foods, Hair Time Beauty Lounge, and the Smudge with All Real Radio. And you can see that item again up on the screen here on the Sphere.
There it is.
I love me some Enemy Studios.
Who doesn't?
I mean, like, for real. Like,
My,
in my heart, I'd be like, I could go on the pole, but then I can't. But, like, I love that I at least try.
But in my other half, just went to a class there. It was trap yoga. They played
Trap
trap
yoga.
music
Yes,
for the
yes.
yoga. I was
It's
like,
no, for real. It's like
come
amazing.
on.
I love her.
Trap
I love the
yoga.
idea of her.
trap yoga. I
Trap
saw the
bingo?
video.
What's trap bingo?
I've heard, and of course trap karaoke.
Trap karaoke.
I've heard trap karaoke is
But
dope.
Trap is
I'm
taking
like
over.
really
Yeah.
late on the music, so like they help me out because I didn't know. It's
Me
a
too.
like okay, so
Yeah,
because
we
I'm
get
a
you. We get you. It
podcaster,
is.
Like I
We
listen
get
to
you.
podcasts.
Yeah.
I listen to the
And I
Sphere
love that. Well,
in my
we
car.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
We do. We do.
Appreciate that.
Now, one last question for you today.
Okay.
Since you want to go commando,
Okay.
and this is as commando as it gets, let's take back the profits and loss statements.
Okay.
Let's take back the budgetary items, the things that you've planned for. Let's take back the strategic ideas and concept of your own land and building your own practice with opportunities to continue to build other doctors. Let's take all that away. Let's take back the amount of money you spent in rent over the last almost 10 years. Let's take it all the way back to school.
I like how he asks questions.
Reverse the time. Let's leave you with the memories. Let's leave you with the concepts, the ideas. but let's take all the work out. If
Okay.
you had to start over again today, what would you do differently to take Smile Design Studios to that next level?
Well, definitely I would plan. I think that a plan is super important. So again, like I told you guys, I just kind of jumped out there. I would have definitely asked more questions. I would have shadowed more people. I would have dreamed bigger, which is kind of interesting because
That's a gem right there. I would have dreamed bigger.
Yeah, I think that I knew I wanted to. When you asked, like, I opened and I knew I was going to open 1 year out. And then after that, I didn't have a plan. And so for me, as a person who is a planner, this was an extreme, like, sense of turmoil that I didn't know which direction I wanted to go into. And so if I wanted to have multiple practices, for instance, maybe I didn't heavily brand myself in those practices because now people come to that practice to see me. Whereas if I had multiple practices, you know, you're not so tied to the doctor per se, but to the concept of the practice, right? So those are things that I think about. Or if I wanted to only work part-time, you know, I would have structured my practice a little bit differently in what services I offered, because there are definitely services that produce more money per hour than others. So I would have changed that differently. I would have looked a little bit harder into my demographics and figured out who I was servicing. I've just been blessed that I'm in a really good area, but I didn't pay attention to that for real. So God just put me in a really great spot. But moving forward, I would have understood demographics a little bit more, traffic patterns. How many times are people passing through my shopping center and then I get a chance to see my marketing? I would have changed my name. Smile Design Studios is such a long name, and people, I think, forget when they're branding something that it needs to be very quick
catchy.
and catchy, you know. And so when the longer they have to Google that name, it's just crazy. And
The
then
sphere.
it's to the point. And then if somebody asks you, what does the sphere mean? You could say,
Now I can dive deep into my elevator.
Right.
Hit
But
them with the
Smile
60
Design-
seconds.
right. And Smile Design Studios, I got asked, was I a photography place? What was I designing? Like, it's just, and now.
Designing good teeth.
Right. So now if I go back and try to rebrand it, that's a whole, that was my concept behind it. Like, I'm designing your smile, right? But
See, I got you.
you felt it, but then people didn't. So
Yeah.
just a lot of different things. But I think the overall, I still would have done it. My why would have still been the same, which is I am so happy that I found out that I want to be a dentist at 7. And I am so lucky that I've got the opportunity to actually practice dentistry every single day. Like, I just absolutely love what I do. And so
Dope.
that part is definitely, my why is still there, which I think would have still led me to the path of entrepreneurship. Just I would have taken more steps to prepare.
Gotcha. I love it. Got a
That's
plan.
dope.
Plan
Ingress,
to
egress.
succeed.
See how many people riding through the shopping street, man. Come
Look at her.
on.
Listen to her.
Right? I would have paid
Listen
attention
to
to
it.
that. Color
Well-
schemes and everything. It would have still been pink and green.
She's on one. She's on.
She tried again.
She did. But trying it or not, what we like to say here, Dr. Simone Ellis, what you have done, what you have achieved, has officially coined you, my dear, a startup master. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail. It's in the
Where
mail.
do you get that?
Thank
Nice
you,
little
thank you
pin-
very
pin-
much.
Now, please, for all those that are watching right now, for those that are listening right now, let them know where you can be reached at, where your practice can be found at, of course, your website and any other social media.
Absolutely. So, of course, you guys can find me at Smile Design Studios. I'm located on 6130 Highway 6 in Missouri City, Texas. Website is www.sdshouston.com. I mean, I don't want to brag, but you got to check out our online reviews. We kind of popping over at Smile Design Studios. And also, you guys, you can check me out and my co-host on Docs. Love doing this show. I'll be in town on Friday.
How about that?
So I feel like it's a win-win for everybody. But you guys can check me out on Instagram, Dr. Simone Ellis, or on Facebook, Simone Ellis. And I have had an absolute blast being a part of Startup Masters.
Thank
You
you
guys
for
are
coming.
phenomenal.
Oh, well,
Like,
thank you.
I mean,
That
I'm
feels
like,
good.
I really feel like we need to have a tagline class. Like, I just
We'll do something at the next meeting.
I feel
We'll
so,
do a little
like-
something.
like, hey, girl, come on over here and teach me what you're doing. Hey, boy. You know, so it was great. You guys are
We got you
phenomenal.
all
got you.
up.
Continue to
Good.
do this. Like, this is a blessing.
Hey,
This is
hey,
a
this is
blessing.
why
It's the
we here.
plan.
The
Yeah.
difficult we do immediately.
Oh, I love it.
Mhm,
Another
mhm.
tagline.
They just keep coming. They just keep coming.
Drop
Catchy.
KG, good people, where can the crowd reach you at, my dear?
Peeps, you guys can catch me on LinkedIn, Instagram, the book at KOG Speaks. That's KOG Speaks on those 3 social media outlets. What about you, G?
Of course, you can reach me anywhere online: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Kick, the USPS. You can reach me on the 1st and 15th at the local corner store at G Hawkins.
What?
That's G Hawkins with the Z. Remember, if you have any questions, you need to reach us here at the show. Shoot us an email, startupmasters@thesphere.tv, or hit us via social media at thesphere.tv, #startupmasters. This has been another action-packed, gem-filled episode.
Yep.
We will see you all next time.
I get
Take
paid
care.
on the 5th and the 20th.
5th and the 20th. Hey.